Hi, I'm Corolla, and on Instagram I'm at From Corolla. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I plan on using the Midori Hibino or Hibino as my 2023 daily planner. So the reason why I was so attracted to this book is because it's new for Midori this year. This is their first iteration of the Hibino or Hibino, and so it's intriguing. And a few things about it actually intrigued me, which I'll talk about. But first, this book is so hard to come by. It pretty much sells out as soon as it's listed somewhere. So I got mine from Wonder Pens in Canada because I am in Canada. So I ordered it locally from Wonder Pens, and I am so glad that I went with the brown. They have the camel or they have the mint. And I really like how just classic this looks and kind of suede-y, even though it's, it's just like a plastic cover. But it does seem pretty strong, like it's sort of bendable, but I don't think it'll get easily scratched or anything like that. So if you're worried about getting a cover for this, it is hard to get a cover for this because it's new and because there's so many pages. It's a very thick book. But because I'm not really going to carry this outside of the house per se, I think it's fine to have it without a cover, just sitting around ready to be used. So what attracted me to this book is because I don't need to use a cover. I don't need to be really precious with it or anything. Even though it's Midori, they don't use their cream paper. They're actually using Tomoe River Paper for this book. And I love TRP, so it's fountain pen friendly, and I already know that I can use slight watercolor on this paper if I wanted to. And so I wanted to try it out. And the color of it is not pure white. I'll just show. So this is the Hobonichi planner in English, the A6 size, and the paper itself is sort of this really white paper, and compared to the Hibino, the paper is sort of like an off-white, probably closer to the Hobonichi Weeks, and I'll actually show you. Yeah, it's actually really close to it, so very similar to the Weeks if you're used to using the Hobonichi Week size. So I love that it's A6. It's very small, but what I actually really like about it is that it gives you 2 pages per day. So in the past, when I've tried to use an A6 for planning, I just found that I ran out of space because it's so small. But the great thing about the Hibino is that it gives you a page to sort of schedule your appointments and write down your tasks, but then it gives you 1 free page of just blank graph paper. And you can use this to jot down more notes or to-dos or, write down anything else that you need to. And I'll walk through how I plan on using this as my daily planner in more detail. Overall, my planning style and for this book is going to be more functional than aesthetic based. I'm pretty much just going to use a fountain pen and stick to a minimalistic and functional design. I don't think I'll use this yearly overview for anything specific, but that can change. How I want to use the future log pages. So it gives you 2 pages and a little space for each month. And I want to sort of write down my goals or future tasks in this space. So kind of use it as a future log as you would in a bullet journal per se. And then it goes into the monthlies. And this one starts in December, so I can pretty much use it right away. And how I want to use it is just write in appointments and events, anything that sort of requires me to be outside of the house or to schedule something. That's what I'll write in here. I'll use this little space at the bottom to write down just what I'm looking forward to or maybe what's upcoming that I may need to schedule in. And then they also include this little free space here. And I think I'll just write down anniversaries, birthdays, things like that in there. because it's A6, the boxes are pretty small. So, you can only really write a few things in there, or you have to write really small. So I think I'm just going to make the most out of the space as possible. So that's for the monthlies. And then it jumps into the dailies. So this book doesn't have weeklies. And for that reason, I'm actually going to be using a supplemental book. So I'll be using the Hobonichi Weeks in 2023 as a weekly overview. And if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about how I'm going to use my Hobonichis, I'll do a separate video about that, but maybe I'll touch on how I set this up at the end of this video, just so you get a little overview. So for the daily pages, they give you weather icons. So you can just circle, what the weather is. And I kind of like tracking weather for some reason, just because sometimes it does affect my mood. So, I live close to Vancouver, so if we have a lot of rain, which that happens, it starts to affect like whether I go out for a walk or whether I'm a little moody or feel blah. And so, I can look back and, oh, it's been 2 weeks of rain. Yeah, that's probably why. So it kind of helps me, stay on top of still getting outside and getting fresh air when I can. And I'm going to use this schedule timeline just to put, when I'll be out of the house or when I have to go do something with the kids, things like that. So my personal and family schedule will probably go in there. And then there's a faint line that separates the schedule portion from this part of the page where it's sort of, you can write down your tasks and stuff. So I'll use this in bullet journaling style, just, list out what I need to get done during that day. And throughout the day, I'll just cross off what I've accomplished and migrate anything to the next page as I need to. This space is really interesting to me because there's so many potentials for using the space. And at first I thought maybe I'll journal on here, but I have a separate journal and I want to stay true to keeping my planner and journal separate, just because I've done that all the time. Like that's always how I've done it. So I think what I'm going to use this for is actually just throughout the day, mind mapping the thoughts that are in my head that I need to just get on paper. So I have, random ideas and just things that pop in my head that I'm like, oh, I have to remember this for later. And I think that's where the space will come in handy. And I also like using fountain pens to sketch florals and things like that. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see examples of that. And Tomoe River Paper is really great for sketching and writing on with your fountain pen. So I think what I'll do is just if I have the time, I'll just do a little sketch and things like that. But I think I'm not going to put too many rules on how I use this space. Just, whatever comes to mind throughout the day that I have to refer to at the end of the day or use for reflections or journal prompts, things like that, I'll just put in on this page. So yeah, that's basically the book. And I don't want to chunky it up, so I don't want to add more to how big it already is. So I won't be using it as, collaging or pasting things in there. And just as an example of pens and different writing instruments that I'll use in here, just fountain pens, gel pens, things like that. I always kind of test how long it takes to dry. And I don't worry too much about dry time because I always have blotting paper. This is from J. Herbon. And this is what you use to blot inks. So it doesn't transfer onto your page when you close the book. So what I'll do is I'll just write something, I'll put the sheet in and I close the book, and oops, sorry. And I don't worry about it transferring to the next page because it won't. It'll be fine. It won't smear too much. And so that's kind of how I get past not using a fountain pen just because it might smear, is using blotting paper, or, letting it dry a little before I close the book. Something else I sometimes use are, if you go to Sephora, you can get these oil blotting sheets, which you use for your face. So they're very gentle, and these actually work really well for, if you just want to stick them into different pages. So if you're just writing, an event for a certain day and it's just one line or something, you can always stick one of these oil blotting tissues into your sheet and close your book, and you're all good to go. And then I'm just going to use this as a bookmark. It's a postcard from Job's Journal. It's part of the Patreon. You get a postcard depending on what tier you're in. And I really love this. So I'll use that as a bookmark. And also have this little sticky from the Hobonichi Weeks. If you order the weeks, this comes with the book, and you just stick it in the back of the book to put in stickers and stuff like that. So I think I might put it in this book actually, because there's no space to actually put in papers. And I think I'll do that and put in, stuff that I need to carry with this book if I need to. So that's how I'm going to use the Midori Hibino as my daily planner for 2023. And as I mentioned before, because it doesn't have a weekly section, I'm actually going to use the Hobonichi Weeks as a weekly overview, just because even though I love using a daily planner to write out everything I need to do during the day, I kind of like to take a step back and remind myself what the bigger picture is for the week and for the month and for the year. So my way of doing that is having a weeks, and I went with a mega for 2023. And how I'm going to use the weeks actually is mainly for, tracking bills, things like that. But on a monthly, I'm actually going to use it for, future planning and future log, bullet journaling style kind of. And it won't be so much a repeated layout as my Hibino. It won't be, events and things like that. It'll be more, bills, mail, happy mail, tracking, stuff like that. So it'll be a little bit different in that way. And then for the weekly overview, what I'll put in are just, important things that I need to stay on top of for the whole week in terms of deadlines or things that I want to accomplish. And I'll put in just events and things like that that I have to keep an eye on, and appointments, things for my kids. But, it won't be too much detail because I think the schedule portion of the daily in the Hibino does a really good job of giving you the space for adding context. So I think I'll just, put in whatever the event is, and then I'll refer to my daily planner for more information. And I'll also track some of my habits and things that I want to make sure that I do during the day, and appointments, and then a weekly log, bullet journaling style of my tasks for that week. So what I'll do is when I set up, or when I every morning when I write down my tasks in my daily planner of things that I want to get done during that day, I'll refer to my weeks and take a look at my weekly log of stuff that I need to get done during that week, and then put it into my daily where I need to. And then I'll also have an overview of everything that's happening in that week. And the weeks also comes with, actually the mega comes with a lot, over 217 pages of plain graph paper. So if I run out of space in my daily, or I actually might use this space to write down highlights of the day, just to sort of decompress everything that happens in a day into a small paragraph or something like that, just so this will be a mess of words and things like that and thoughts, and this will be a little bit more organized. And yeah, so that's my plan for using the weeks and the Hibino together. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. This is new, so I'm actually kind of excited to try it out and see how it goes. I'm Corolla, and on Instagram I'm at @FromCorolla, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!